Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real tonight, something nobody sat you down and explained. A man don't fall in love just with what he sees. He fall in love with how you make him feel when you open your mouth. You can be the most beautiful woman in the room, but if the way you talk to him drains him, challenges his manhood, or makes him feel small, he's gonna slowly shut down. But when you learn how to talk to a man the right way, oh, he won't just listen, he'll lean in. Let me tell you something most people don't understand about men. It ain't always what you say to a man that gets to him. It's how you say it. You can use the right words with the wrong tone and lose him completely, or you can say very little with the right tone and have that man thinking about you all day. Men are wired to respond to respect. That's not ego, that's design. From the time a man is young, he's judged by what he can do, what he can provide, how strong he is, how well he holds things together. So when he comes to a woman, he's not just listening for words, he's listening for whether he feels respected or diminished. A man hears tone before he hears logic. You might be explaining your feelings perfectly, but if your tone sounds like accusation, disappointment, or superiority, his mind shuts down. He stops listening to understand and starts listening to defend himself. But when your tone is calm, steady, and grounded, something different happens. He feels like you're talking to him, not at him. That's when he leans in emotionally. That's when he starts opening up, even if he doesn't say much right away. Respect doesn't mean silence, and it doesn't mean you don't have needs. It means you don't strip a man of his dignity when you speak. Sarcasm, eye rolling, talking down, comparing him to other men, all of that cuts deeper than most women realize. Men may not always react in the moment, but they remember how you made them feel. And once a man feels consistently disrespected, even love can't save that connection. Now, here's the part people don't like to hear. A respectful tone doesn't make you weak, it makes you powerful. A woman who can speak firmly without yelling, who can express disappointment without humiliation, who can ask without begging, that woman has control over the emotional temperature of the relationship. Men feel that. They respond to that. It makes them want to do better, not because they're forced, but because they feel valued. When a man hears respect in your voice, he feels like a man around you. He feels trusted. He feels chosen. And a man will move mountains for the woman who makes him feel like that. He'll listen longer. He'll try harder. He'll stay present instead of checking out. Not because you demanded it, but because your tone told him he matters. That's why two women can say the exact same sentence and get completely different reactions from the same man. One makes him defensive, the other makes him devoted. The difference isn't intelligence, beauty, or strategy. The difference is tone. Respectful tone speaks to a man's core. It tells him, you're safe here. And once a man feels safe, emotionally and mentally, that's when attachment starts to grow deep and strong. Let me explain something that most women never realize until it's too late. A man doesn't feel loved the same way a woman does. While women feel love through attention, words, and emotional connection, men feel love through feeling needed, appreciated, and seen. And the fastest way to make a man feel invisible is by speaking to him in a way that ignores his effort or reduces his value. A man can handle stress, pressure, and responsibility all day long, but what drains him is coming home to a voice that makes him feel like he's never enough. When a woman speaks to a man as if what he does doesn't matter, even unintentionally, it chips away at him. Constant criticism, focusing only on what's missing, or speaking in a way that sounds like disappointment sends a message he hears loud and clear. No matter what I do, it's not enough. Over time, that message becomes exhausting. He may not argue. He may not explain. He may simply pull back emotionally because retreat feels safer than trying and failing again. But when a woman speaks in a way that acknowledges his effort, everything changes. You don't have to praise him for every little thing, but when you notice what he does right, it tells him he's not invisible. A simple recognition, said sincerely, can fuel a man more than you realize. Men rarely hear appreciation in the world. They're expected to perform, provide, and endure without complaint. So when a woman becomes the place where he feels seen, he becomes deeply attached to that feeling. The way you speak can either remind a man of his shortcomings or highlight his strengths. And here's the key part. Men move toward where they feel valued. If every conversation feels like a performance review, he will emotionally clock out. But if your voice carries gratitude, warmth, and acknowledgement, he'll lean in. He'll want to do more, not because he's being pushed, but because he feels encouraged. This doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It means balancing correction with recognition. A man can accept guidance from a woman who clearly appreciates him, but from a voice that only points out flaws, even good advice sounds like rejection. Men don't fight criticism with words, they fight it by withdrawing. When a man feels invisible, he stops showing up fully. When he feels seen, he invests. Your voice has the power to either make him disappear emotionally or draw him closer. And that power doesn't come from manipulation or control. It comes from speaking in a way that lets him know his presence, his effort, and his role in your life truly matter. Let me tell you why confidence in your voice changes everything with a man. A man is naturally drawn to a woman who knows who she is because certainty feels safe. When you speak with confidence, not arrogance, not aggression, but calm self-assurance, a man feels grounded around you. He doesn't feel like he has to guess where he stands or constantly prove himself. That clarity is powerful, and it creates attraction on a level that goes far beyond looks. A shaky voice, constant, second, guessing, or speaking from fear sends a message a man picks up instantly. It tells him you're unsure of yourself, unsure of him, unsure of the relationship. That uncertainty makes him cautious. Men are problem solvers, but they don't want to live in emotional instability. When every conversation feels like a test or a worry session, he starts pulling back, not because he doesn't care, but because he doesn't know how to fix insecurity that isn't his to fix. Now understand this clearly. Confidence doesn't mean being loud or dominant. A confident woman doesn't need to raise her voice to be heard. She doesn't chase validation. She speaks with intention. When you say what you want calmly and directly without apology or fear of rejection, a man respects that. He may not always agree, but he will take you seriously, and respect is the doorway to desire for a man. When your voice carries confidence, it also communicates boundaries. Men are drawn to women who have standards because standards signal self-worth. If you speak as if you know your value, a man subconsciously rises to meet it or steps aside. Either way, your confidence filters out confusion. You stop negotiating your worth through your words, and that alone makes you magnetic. There's another layer to this. A confident voice doesn't react emotionally to every situation. It responds thoughtfully. Men feel calmer around women who don't spiral at every misunderstanding. When you pause, think, and then speak, it shows emotional maturity. A man feels like he can build something stable with you because stability starts in communication. A woman who speaks with confidence also doesn't threaten or manipulate. She doesn't use silence as punishment or drama as leverage. She says what she means and means what she says. That consistency builds trust. And trust is what makes a man open up over time. He may not express emotions the same way a woman does, but when he trusts your voice, he begins to share more of himself. Confidence in your voice tells a man, I am secure and I choose you. That choice feels powerful to a man. It makes him want to step up, protect the connection, and invest emotionally. Because when a woman sounds sure of herself, a man doesn't feel pressure, he feels drawn. Let me break this down in a way that's honest and real. A man runs on appreciation the same way a car runs on fuel. You can have attraction, chemistry, history, even love, but without appreciation, a man slowly loses the desire to give more of himself. He may still be there physically, but emotionally, he starts conserving his energy. And most of the time, women don't notice when this shift happens because men don't announce it. They just go quiet. Men live in a world where what they do is expected, not celebrated. Providing, fixing, protecting, showing up, those things are seen as the bare minimum. So when a woman speaks appreciation into a man's life, it hits him at a level most people never reach. It tells him that his effort matters, that he's not just being tolerated, but valued. And when that appreciation comes from a woman he cares about, it creates a powerful emotional bond. Here's where the voice matters. Appreciation has to be spoken, not assumed. Thinking it isn't the same as saying it. A man can't feel what you don't express. When your voice carries gratitude, warmth, and sincerity, it creates emotional safety. He feels relaxed around you. He feels like he can exhale. And a man will always gravitate toward the place where he feels at peace. Now understand this clearly. Appreciation is not flattery. Flattery feels empty. Appreciation feels specific and real. When you acknowledge his effort, his consistency, or his intention, you validate his role in your life. That validation feeds his desire to protect, provide, and commit. It makes him want to do more, not because he's being manipulated, but because he feels motivated. A man who feels appreciated will go out of his way for you. He'll listen longer. He'll be more patient. He'll prioritize your needs.